Deion Sanders. Over these last 3 or 4 days, watching the Google news feeds, watching the opinions of different people
Mm-hmm.
about why it was he left. And I kind of went down a rabbit hole with it a little bit to try to understand it a little bit better. You got a great guy like Dr. Umar Johnson, who I love very much, and he's a very black centric man. He seems very smart. But I feel like, once again, we hold black people to a standard that we don't hold the whole system to.
Yeah.
That's
And black people are holding other black people to that standard.
or yeah,
Clarify that.
yeah, very much so. That's what I mean when I say
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
And then, other folks do other things, and, you say you don't see other folks doing this. Yeah, everyone
Everyone
does this,
has their Ray
does their
Rays.
stuff,
Yeah. Everyone has
you
their
know.
own,
Now
problem
you can
child.
talk specifically about generational wealth and slavery and all those things that have disproportionately hurt black people. That's very, very real. And
Yeah.
that's the reason why the
CU,
HBCUs
historically black colleges.
are
Mm-hmm.
not doing as well as they can, but they're also not bringing in money and doing inventive things. And I find it amazing that when you look at where they were to where they ended up in just a short 3 year period of time, from one guy who was a bona fide superstar, what he did was nothing short of amazing. And I watched an interview that he was having with two young black men in the auditorium at Jackson State University. And he
Mm-hmm.
goes, "We have not had a winning football program here since forever."
Well,
They turn around and they get that program going, and they fill the stadium for the first time. I don't know if it's ever been filled like this. 53,000 tickets were sold.
I want to first talk about what exactly did he have to do while he was the coach. He was the head coach, right?
Yes.
So while he was the head coach, what exactly was he doing? You said he was mowing lawns. He was what was his experience that you could then say, okay, well, this is what aided in his decision.
Okay. All right. That's fair. All right. First of all, he came in there and the place was dilapidated. Track,
Mm.
the locker rooms, all their stuff dilapidated. So he used some of his own money, but he also used his connective tissue, and he made some deals. He also had tried to put together a television deal that would have been extremely lucrative, so much so they could have paid him out of the television deal, and they said no.
Mm.
For what reasons, I do not know, because it doesn't jive with the fact, that's what I was going to say before about the tickets being sold. When he went and did a count of how many tickets were sold, they only showed 28,000 tickets of the being sold.
Mm.
So somebody's stealing the money, misappropriating the money, or moving the money in a different direction.
Mm.
He had in his contract that once he got to 30,000 tickets, a certain amount of that money would go to him.
Oh, that's why they didn't do. That's why they didn't show. Okay, it was X amount.
Right. So there was a series of things. This man went through 11 surgeries because he had blood clots in his leg. I think he had to have part of his toe amputated.
Mm.
I watched a thing with him on 60 Minutes, and I was moved by this brother that he was out on the field and in a special wheelchair, his leg wrapped up, to continue to be at least a presence there while he was going through what he went through. He went to the administration. He says, "Hey, I need this grass cut." Uh, they needed it. He needed it done like the next day because they had to get ready for practices and do their stuff. No one bothered to get it done, so the man shows up with a lawnmower, riding mower, and he mows the grass.
Mm.
All right. The level of commitment, the fact that he had brought in sponsorship, used his own money to redo the locker room of the players. There is so much there and so many pieces to unpack, and add to it, as always, and I hate to say it, but we have an element within the black community that we refer to as the Ray Rays and Poopies.
Yep.
These are guys who spend their time in and out of jail. They don't care about themselves. They don't care about the community. They disrespect everybody at every turn. These are the same people that are running around shooting other black people. I heard a police officer, there's a black police officer that was a captain that was distraught over a 14 or 15-year-old girl that was killed by a young black man. He says, I'm going to say what no one ever says. When you're not killing children or killing your own women, you're killing each other.
Yep.
Until we can bring that important thing into control, we got a problem. And if I'm Deion Sanders down here in one of the poorest states, and trying to do the right thing and being criticized while Brett Favre, the big football star of the past, like Deion Sanders was, is stealing from the state and stealing from black folks who legitimately should be getting money, and black people don't say shit about that guy, but they scream about Deion, who was there for 3 years doing the right thing by you. Dr. Umar, I feel like that wasn't in your conversation when you criticized this brother. And you don't criticize or even bring up the fact that man had his car broken into. They broke into his car.
Yeah.
So now, if you break into my car, you know exactly who I am. Yeah. And I have my sons here. Both of my sons are on the team. I got my wife, my family members around. What's next? Do you try to kidnap one of my family members or rob them?
Yeah.
Do you come to my home and try to rob me?
Or just straight out kill you.
Yeah.
Because you know they love to do that.
Yes. It's an existential threat to be around Ray Ray and Pookie.
Yeah.
For any black people,
anytime,
because that's who they kill, other black people. Mm-hmm. If you compare the cooperation of the people of Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street story that we now know that's been kept under wraps for a long time, and we have a lot more stories like that. Mm-hmm. They would turn over in their grave to know that the white people that were on the periphery of town that wanted to burn them down, hang them from a tree, are now the black people of modern time are the existential threat to the regular black people of today. Yeah. And that's not even including all the other threats we've always had from an imbalanced system, a system that targets our community for criminal justice. We add you to the list of existential threats now.
Well, I also want to bring up the whole thing of, I think it was O'Shea that said it.
Holler to O'Shea Duke Jackson.
Yeah, I think it was O'Shea that said it, where he was saying how, all black people, y'all want to say, this and that about Deion, or you don't want to help out the black folks no more. But it's like, well, what are you doing to help out black folks?
Right.
Buying Louis Vuitton, that's not owned by black folks.
Right.
Buying Nikes, that ain't owned by black folks.
Right.
Going to whatever restaurant, is that restaurant owned by black folks?
Right.
Doing whatever other hobbies and things that you do. Yeah. iPhones. This stuff ain't owned by black folks.
Right.
You're buying your Dominican weaves and all that ain't owned by black folks.
Yeah.
So what are you actually doing? Are you volunteering for any kind of black something?
Do you donate to the HBCUs?
Did you even go to a HBCU?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of people don't even know what HBCU is.
For people who, want to say, oh, this and that and that and the third, I mean, what exactly are you doing? You know what I mean?
And I believe I have to do a little bit more further research, but I think that Deion has already hired in his coaching staff coach that comes from one of the HBCUs. Mm. And that was another thing. I watched videos of him promoting the other HBCUs. All boats were rising. My ideal, and I agree with some of the brothers, and I even agree with Mr. Umar to a certain degree, is that ideally I would have loved to see him stay. But if you are stealing, and you're stealing the money, if you're stealing from me and breaking into my car, if you're lying and talking to me two-faced, if I'm trying to bring you ways in order for you to make your situation more successful, and you choose not to take a TV deal that can actually pay me, then it's time for me to move on.
And let's also look at it from one of the big numbers too. $5 million. What was it? $300,000.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 500,000, but he actually took 250 of it and used it.
Fine, let's just say 500,000. 5 mil or 500,000. I mean, but hey, if we're gonna talk about money, you're saying TV deals about money,
and this is where I lean.
This adds into that.
I agree, but I also lean towards Mr. Umar in that way as well. And other guys who are saying that he should have stayed. The money could have been there ultimately, but you needed to be honest and be an honest actor with the guy and support him and really strengthen the system. But instead, what you did the first time you saw all that cash come in off of one of those games, this man filled up the damn stadium. You steal it.
I mean, but we can even kind of talk a little bit even about what was it? Black people not wanting to support black people, but want black people to do other things for black people. You got, for example, the whole thing that happened with Colin Kaepernick when he, took the knee and
Yeah,
did all this other stuff, and he's doing it for black people.
right.
This is what this was for. Even though he's mixed, he's black.
Yeah,
You know, this is what this is for. I'm taking the knee because I don't stand for that.
yeah,
And then you had other black folks. But look at you. Well, he's standing up for you.
right.
And then now it's like, oh, but this is football now,
Yeah,
And it's
right.
like, well, even though this is a different kind of topic, but still, you know what I mean? You have someone who is trying to actively stand up for black folks, and then you still don't like it.
Well, I agree, and I maintain to you, Colin Kaepernick is a stand-up brother. And I think that the only thing that I would say to him was when they did this little two-step thing to try to bring him back in the league, but it was fake. He should have went along with their rules and their regs that they wanted, except for signing the document, because I agree with that. That document is not a standard document you would use in in a normal workout.
Mm-hmm.
There were some things in it that just were not kosher, but everything else they could have done. But then you would turn around and do what it is that you ended up doing. You could do that anyway after the fact.
Yeah.
You could find your own moment and have a place where you could showcase your skills, use your own crew, just like you were trying to do in that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think that was a little bit of a miscalculation on his part. But you got people that were accused of murder. You got people that were in the league that threw a couch off a 50-story window and almost hit a couple.
Sexual exchanges.
Yeah, I mean a whole
massages.
A whole bunch of different things that you be judgmental about or not.
You should be fired for, but you're not.
But you're still in the league. But a guy takes a knee for social unrest in the country, and you say it's disrespecting the flag and disrespecting this and disrespecting that.
And black folks were also co-signing that too.
Yeah, and that to me was complete BS. Speaking of which, and this is a sidebar, did you see the story of a guy, I want to say it was either California or Florida. I want to say California. And he burned people's American flags at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I did not see that.
Yeah, he was taking a lighter and burning their flag.
Wow.
And they caught the guy. And then the guy on the block went out to, Lowe's or wherever, and he bought 10 American flags and then went to his neighbors and gave them the flags. And the neighbors were diverse. It was a diverse group of people that all had the American flag in front of their house. And that, to me, is the beauty of America. You got an idiot that wants to be an asshole and burn your flag on your property at 3 o'clock in the morning. And in one case, a person's car completely got burnt up.
Oh, wow.
And we're lucky that no one's house got burned, that people were able to get proactive and realize something was going on and notify the other neighbors and pull the flagpole down. The guy had his still burnt flagpole with his new flag on it, which was symbolic.
Yeah.
There's people in this country that are trying to burn our country down off of lies, off of bullshit. And the real American is not a nationalist. They're patriots. And they believe in rule of law. They believe in doing the right thing. And they believe that everyone should coexist. That's the beauty of our country, is the coexistence. You know what? You're gay? So what? I don't care. Live your life. Do what you need to do. You have every right that I have. You don't have to put it in my face. I don't have to put it in your face. And we all live and coexist together with mutual cooperation and mutual respect.